Good afternoon, North Middle School students. Today we're going to be learning about monochromatic color schemes, and that includes tints and shades, and altogether we're really talking about the element value. So a monochromatic color scheme, what that actually means is it's a color scheme made up of only one color. Doesn't sound very exciting so far, but the word mono means one and the word chroma means color. And so a monochromatic color scheme is a color scheme that's basically made up of one color. So it includes the tints and shades of one color. So for example, we might have a medium blue, a dark blue, and a light blue. Altogether, these are called monochromatic colors. It's all one color, but we have different versions of that color, or we could say different values of that color. So monochromatic is any color that includes one color plus the tints and the shades of that color. A tint is any color, in this case we're going to be looking at red, plus white, and a shade is any color, in this case again is red, plus black. If we add white to it, it lightens the color. If we add black to it, it darkens the color. So we'll end up with a variety of different colors just using one color, black and white. Now, this, as I said, may not sound very exciting to you, but in design, monochromatic is pretty important. For example, at North Middle School, you can wear any shade of a blue t-shirt or a blue collared shirt with your khaki pants, and that is considered monochromatic. If you are decorating in a house and say you're doing a living room or a bedroom in a monochromatic color scheme and you want to pick blue as your main color, you might come up with several different values and shades of the color blue, and all of these might look good in the bedroom, but the theme here is blue. The color that we're working with is blue. Now, for our practice today, we're going to be using the color red. And you're going to have a piece of paper. You'll need to put your first name, 6A or 6B, in the upper left-hand corner, and then turn your paper over. We're going to start off with the basic color red. You're going to start with a color swatch of red. And that's when you just put the basic color down. And a color swatch is kind of a sample of that color. So that's a true red. And then we're going to start creating some tints with that red. Now, a red is an extremely intense color. So before I even start doing that, I'm going to need to get my good old McDonald's water cup here and rinse my brush off well. And I'm going to dry it. And then I'm ready to go. I am going to start mixing on my color palette. A color palette in this case is a paper plate. A paper plate makes a great color palette because you can throw it away when you're done. But I want to start off with the lightest version of red that I can possibly get. So instead of actually starting with red, I'm going to start with white. And on my palette, I'm going to pull a little bit of white paint out. And then I am going to take the tiniest little bit of red that I can get on my brush, and I'm going to mix it with that white. So you can see with even a tiny bit of red, red is such an intense color, I can get a really nice pale red. We call that color pink, but in art it's actually a light red. And so I'm going to start with a color swatch of light red, which is red plus lots of white. And then to make a slightly darker version, I'm going to add a little bit more red and mix it with what I already have. I'm not really starting a new color swatch here. I'm just mixing what's already there. And I'm using both sides of my brush because I got paint on both sides of the brush. And I'll do another color swatch, which is a darker tint because it's got a little bit more red in it. I can keep going. I can get lots of different values of red just by adding a little bit more red each time. And as I mix, it's a good idea to always use both sides of your brush. Otherwise, you're going to end up with streaks in your color. Mix it really well on your palette and then put it on your paper. Now, I'm hoping that you can see that each time I add a little bit more red, my tint gets a little bit darker. But I'm still doing tints. A tint is any color plus white, and I'm going to add quite a bit of red this time. I'll make this my last tint because I want to leave some room for shades. It is actually quite a bit easier when I'm using red to make more tints than shades. And add a little bit more. Mix it well on both sides and start another color swatch. Now I'm hoping that you can see on the video that I have the color red, and then I started with a very pale, light version of red, and it got darker and darker and darker, but these are still considered tints because it is my color plus white. I'm going to go next to the shades. I'll have to clean my brush really well because I want to get all of the white off my brush. So when you start your shades, make sure you clean your brush well. You're going to clean it in your water bucket, and then you're going to press it on a paper towel to get all the extra water out. The reason we want the extra water out is because you're actually using liquid temperas, and they've already got quite a bit of moisture in them. So I'm going to start now by pulling out some red and adding just the tiniest little bit of black to it. You notice when I used the tints, I started with white and added red to it. But with shades, black is such an intensely dark color that I'm actually going to start with red and add just a very tiny bit of black to it. And that's a little bit too dark to start with, so I'm going to pull in some more red. I'm going to work on both sides of my brush, and there's my first color swatch of dark red. Now, as I said, it's much harder to get shades with red than it is to get tints. I could get lots more tints, but shades get dark really fast. So I will not get nearly as many. It'll start looking black really soon. I'm going to add some more black, a little bit more red because I think I got it too dark. See, I'm kind of playing with it until it looks like a different color. Still, again, using both sides of my brush. When I put it on, I can tell immediately that it is a little bit darker than that other color. If it's not, then I'll go back and add a little tiny bit more black until this red looks a little bit darker. Now I'm going to add even more black. And this is going to make the red look really dark. On the video, it might actually look like a black color, but in reality, it is a very, very, very dark red. And see how I kind of flatten my brush to get that color swatch on there? So you're going to be creating some tints and shades. I'm hoping this was helpful to you. This is my monochromatic color scheme using red, tints of reds, and shades of red. So thank you for staying focused. I really appreciate your attention. And now you're going to get to have some fun mixing colors yourself.